So, Farron, when we broke, we were talking about Donald Trump's attempt in Pennsylvania this week to make himself the anti-trade or the pro-worker candidate. And you'll excuse me for almost choking on my own on my own words there for a moment. And just to remind people, look, Donald Trump, it is, I guess I can understand why there is some idea that Donald Trump, if he had any salience, would have it in the states of Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. But here's some of the polling from this week. Michigan, Clinton leads 50% to 33%. In Ohio, Clinton leads 46% to 37%. Pennsylvania, Clinton leads 49% to 35%. Now, people should understand that this is before the conventions. You may see Donald Trump get a bump out of the convention, but it's also, you could see him crater in the convention. I mean, right now, Farron, they're talking about bringing in Mike Tyson and Ditka in there and maybe Bobby Knight to be the supporters of Donald Trump. And you know it's going to be like some type of weird Benghazi palooza there, despite the fact that the Benghazi report came out this week and just dropped with a massive thud.
It's so funny because it's tragically funny because millions of dollars spent, years spent on this whole Benghazi farce, and nothing. The Republicans have to come out and say, well, yeah, it turns out, yeah, she did everything right. It was a military response, had nothing to do with her. But we're going to keep at it. Don't get us wrong. We're going to keep at it because we think eventually we can make something up to get her on this. But, you know, the reason they even started this way, you know, many, many years ago is because they wanted to derail her presidential run before President Obama even had before his term even came to a finish. And it's failed miserably.
Let me stop you there for a second, Farron. The reason why this became such a big thing was because Mitt Romney thought this was his ticket to becoming president. I mean, people forget that, and this is what's amazing about this, okay? In 2012, the Benghazi attack happened in 2012. And people forget that it happened in September 11th, 2012. That Mitt Romney got in front of the debate stage. And at that time, the big Benghazi scandal was that President Obama had not used the words terrorism or something like that. And you'll recall he was on, Mitt Romney was begging Candy Crowley to back him up on this. And he thought this was how he was going to win the election. And Candy Crowley just looked at him and said, no, he said that word. And poor Mitt Romney was stuck there as if like somebody had just given him a massive wedgie. This thing has over time gone from a bludgeon against Barack Obama to a bludgeon against Hillary Clinton. But the problem is that this is completely irrational. We are like 7 investigations into this. 800 pages later, Trey Gowdy is like, well, yeah, not so much. And the amazing thing is that the right cannot let go of this. I mean, we are now in 2016. This happened in 2012. Do you remember a 7th investigation into 9/11 in 2005, Farron? I mean, the idea that you would spend this much time, and it's a horrible tragedy, 4 people lost their lives. The idea that you would spend this much time investigating this tragedy of 4 people in basically a war zone getting killed as opposed to 9/11 is stunning. It is stunning, and it's indicative of how far down the wormhole the Republican Party has gone.
Well, and it's funny because they weren't necessarily looking for anything other than dirt on another politician. Now, if we had spent 7 different investigations and 4 years, I don't know, looking into the crimes of Wall Street that helped to tank the economy, the subprime mortgage crisis that they created, I mean, just imagine how different things could be in this country today if we would have put that time and energy, or even half of it, into looking at Wall Street or looking at the dysfunction happening in the FDA. I mean, we could have saved countless lives by doing that. But instead, it's all to smear one politician, whoever that one politician of the day happens to be. There was nothing Nothing that they were looking for out of this investigation other than something to hang around the neck of the Democratic president or the Democratic presidential nominee. And it's blown up hilariously in their faces. But now we have the NRA trying to link Benghazi to gun control laws in the United States in a new ad that they're putting out to help Donald Trump. They're not ever going to let it go.
No.
And it's sad. It's a waste of our time and our money. And
it paid dividends insofar as the whole email scandal came out of this Benghazi investigation. All right, just one more note we got to hit before we go. Just got a minute left. This is pretty funny because we saw last week that CNN hired Corey Lewandowski as I don't know what, frankly, as a commentator. And they subsequently found out, or they just ignored when they hired him, that the guy had a non-disparage clause in his contract and he couldn't criticize Donald Trump, who presumably, right, they brought him on to get some insight of. But apparently all of that insight cannot be anything except for positive. Well, now Corey Lewandowski just lost a $1.2 million offer from HarperCollins to write a book chronicling his time running Donald Trump's presidential campaign because Lewandowski has a non-disclosure agreement, which basically says I can't say anything negative about Donald Trump and probably can't say anything true about Donald Trump. And so he's just lost a $1.2 million book deal. I have to say, Farron, that is a nice piece of news, a positive piece of news to end our segments on today. Always a pleasure. Really appreciate your coming on.
Thank you, Sam.